What's up YouTube, Cardfight in Glasgow. Today I'm doing a deck review of my gold paladins, but before I go much further, this was actually fully built back in October for the Manchester regionals, which this deck done quite well, even with the lack of stride, but after that I kind of traded it, and then I just got it back on Wednesday. So what I am missing is 2 cards pretty much from the main deck, so don't dislike me for that. But I'll quickly go over them in the deck anyway. So the starter is Conigal Liberator. Every time you superior call, he gets plus 3k as long as your vanguards and legion. He actually helps out quite a bit. Trigger sets for heals. Numerous Tree Liberator. I like her because, well, she's cute, to be honest. And I ran 6 draws. So just 6 generic draw triggers. Because, well, I like hand size, and I also ran 6 crit. The 4 rare is Ascended Liberator. So when you superior caller, there's actually a misprint on this card. What it says here is when she's placed, but really it's when she's superior called from the deck. And Bishop did correct this, and I double checked this before Manchester. So really what it should say is when she's placed from the deck to the rearguard circle, you put her to the bottom, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, and you add 1 bluish flame to your hand, and then you reveal it to your opponent and you shuffle it in the deck. It's not just place, it has to be placed from the deck. One of this guy, I'm thinking about bumping him up to 2 or none at all, because he is counterblast 1 retire. If I have a vanguard with Liberator in its name, I can pay the cost. If I do, look at top 3 superior call. I'm actually thinking now just to completely get rid of him, and you'll find out when I hit the grade 3s and that. 2 Rebellion Liberator, so when he's placed I can discard a card from my hand. I can only pay this cost if the number of other vanguard or rearguards I have with Liberator in his name is 4 or more, so I can discard to draw 1. This can actually help me achieve Legion, and he has quite a few times. I'm thinking about bumping him up back to 3. 4 Little Liberator Aaron. As long as I've got a Liberator Vanguard, he becomes a 10k attacker. I quite like him. He's nice and generic, and actually good early game grade 1 and 2 games. He's quite good because I simply go ride. Oh, I've got Marin, call, and that's already a bit of pressure. But he is good for grade 1 and 2 games. I've got 4 perfect guards. I know I've got a Halo Liberator mark. I would actually prefer a Placer of the Light formation, but perfect guards are perfect guards, nonetheless. The only difference is, no, there's no difference in wording actually. I was thinking there was, but there's not. And I also run 3 Starry Skies Liberator. Reason why? Well, he's counterblast 1 when he's put onto the Guardian circle and if my Vanguard's a Liberator. For every gold paladin rearguard I have, he gets plus 5k shield. So with this build, I hit a full field pretty easy. So really, he becomes a 30k shield max. With 1 counterblast, he actually saved me a few times and won me a few games. Grade 2 rise. As one of him at the moment, because I've only got the 1. I'm thinking of either running 4 of him or back to 4 Lawful Trumpeter. So what the new Fighters Collection guide does is when he's placed from the deck, if I have 2 or more Liberators in its original card name, on my Vanguard circle, look at the top 3 cards off my deck, search for 1 with Liberator in its name and call it to the rearguard, put the rest to the bottom of my deck in any order. Then, if the unit called with this effect is a bluish flame, I can return it to my hand. I'm not too keen on him. Now that I think about it, I actually prefer Lawful Trumpeter, which is with my vanguard Legion, so he has to be on the field when this happens. I can look at the top 3 cards in my deck and superior call, and the rest go to the bottom of my deck in any order. So really, I actually prefer a playset of Lawful Trumpeter. He also helps with getting in your field full. There are 3 12k attackers. So he's just like Marin. If my vanguard has Liberator in its name, he gets plus 3k. And I have 4. Well, no, like Oath Liberator, so counterblast 1 when he's placed on the rear guard. If my vanguard's a Liberator, I'll look at the top 3 cards in superior call. The rest go to the bottom of my deck in any order. He's also good for filling up the field because it's just whenever he's placed. So for grade 3 rise, there's 1 Platinum Izzle for the giggles. No, not really. He's there to kind of fill up the grade 3 lineup. I did have a playset of cores, but I don't now. Kind of sell it to get the Trino at one point. But counter blast 3, everything gets 5k. No, is it? Yeah, it is 5k. Was good back in the day, but this deck's too counter blast heavy for him. I've run 4 of Bluish Flame Liberator Parsiville. So when I perform Legion, I can look at top 4. Yeah, top 4 and superior call 1. Let's go to the bottom of my deck. So he actually combos very nicely with Lawful Trumpeter because I get 2 free cards, and if I'm lucky, I'll get him. So then it's 3 guys for 1 counterblast. He's a good alternative if you don't have Core in your hand, which is the main card of this deck. But if you don't have them, you can just ride this. And there are 3 core when really there's meant to be 4. I will probably buy the last one some point this week. So he is whenever a unit with the same name as your vanguard is placed on the rear guard from your deck. If this is in Legion, it gets 3k and a crit. So if you superior call, so he Legions with Oath Liberator, most of my grade 3 lineup does, which makes the deck kind of budget. But so if you superior call another copy of Koa or Oath, it gets 3k and a crit. This is good for pressure, in my view, because there was quite a few times when it was hitting high numbers with high damage, because it also combos nicely with Chronicle. He can easily hit 34k, I believe. Well, every time I use the combo, he hits 34k, which is actually kind of threatening and good at the same time. His other skill is Counterblast 1, retire a unit. Look at top 4 cards of my deck and superior call 1, but this is a once per turn effect. So really, if I want to get this guy's power up, I'll just do that. And stuff I want to add in the deck, definitely Bluno. I think that's his name. He gets 3k every time I superior call something. Definitely won't want that, but definitely want that in the deck. I need to get myself just 1 more Lawful Trumpeter, I think, and get myself and get my hands on another core. Stride wise, I need to get the Generation Rare. He's Counterblast 1, Unflip 1 for every copy of Face Up in the G Zone. Look at top 3 superior call 1. So you look at top 3 call 1. If you've got 2 face up, you do it again. If it's 3 face up, you do it 3 times. So for one count, counterblast, you're filling up your field. He's a better Spear Cross, but only for Bluish Flames, I think it is. I mean, you can run Spear Cross in this deck as a backup, but if you are going to do that, you will want to run the damage on flipping Perfect Guards, which I cannot get my hands on. And I think if Gold Paladin have any, the Soul Blast 2 on Flip 2. If you're going to run Spear Cross, I mean, with Spear Cross you need a lot of face up GG zones, so you'll be striding, so you'll have to stride a lot before doing it. But when I ran this deck, the only strides I ran was 2 Campbell, I think it was, or 1 Campbell. Mainly because when I played against my friend who did run stride in almost all his decks, I didn't need stride. Either that, or I forgot I had stride. But I didn't really use stride because I didn't have to worry about throwing my hand down to call. Everything came from effects. So ideally, what happened in Manchester was, I was against Big Bang Stride, and he was constantly wiping out my field. But I kept on bringing it back. That's one of the advantages of Gold Paladin. However, the disadvantage is it's always top 3 or 4, and they all go to the bottom of the deck. The only cards that are going to shuffle in the deck will be Ascended Liberator and Campbell, if you're going to run Campbell. And even with Campbell, he needs to hit. If you don't know who Campbell is, when he hits, look at top 5, Superior Call 1, gets 2k, then shuffled in the deck. So the only disadvantage with this deck is that you don't really shuffle, and you don't search your deck. Unlike the Royal and Shadow Paladins, it's you have to rely on the top 3 or 4. Because what happened to me against somebody, I looked at top 4, I think it was against Royal Paladin Stride, and I got 2 heals and 2 draws, and because of core skill I have to Superior Call 1, so I sat there a bit annoyed because I couldn't get stuff off to actually catch up, so made me lose the game. But it does happen. So that's kind of the strengths and weaknesses of the deck. Strengths are, you can call from deck easy, and if you do run Starry Night Liberator, you've got decent shield. Disadvantages of this deck can be counterblast heavy, doesn't shuffle deck, and only looks at top 3 or 4. But again, this deck does get benefits from calling from deck like a more power or more full field. If I get strikes, I will do an update on this deck, and I'll probably change stuff around, like probably change these guys here for Blue Nose, if I can get my hands on them. So I'll do an update when this deck does get updated, and we will see you soon.